Alexa, open BraveWords Radio.
Welcome back to BraveWords Radio. Brought to you by Vox Protocol, the global leader in voice app entertainment. BraveWords Radio is an awesome musical extension of BraveWords.com, where we have been waving the flag of hard rock and heavy metal around the world for over 30 years. Since you have been here before, we hope you enjoy BraveWords Radio.
So how are you doing? All good?
I'm actually in mourning. How did the Jeff Beck news affect you?
Well, I put this out yesterday. I said, hearing about, again, part of my instrumental guitar life was the album Wired. So it was just really, a bummer moment to hear that he had passed.
Did you ever meet him?
I did not, no.
Well, let's talk about brighter things, because it seems, my friend, that your game is always on and there's some exciting things coming up in your future, but really it's Bret Michaels' game is always on.
Well, first of all, thank you. And I love you for saying that. But I got to tell you, let's start with this last summer with the stadium tour. Again, was really not only excited to do it, and knowing that for 2 years with everything going on with the pandemic, it had pushed a lot of stuff back. But I was determined from day one, when I hit that stage in Atlanta, it was one of those things where I got in there and I just stayed at the stadium. I was like, I'm going to live on my bus here. I'm going to stay here. I'm going to throw baseball. I'm going to go out in the field and throw football and enjoy every moment of it. I'm not making this up. We got to sound check the night before, then the day of, and I was literally on my bus. Like when they opened up that stadium, I may have been there earlier than the crew the next morning, and enjoyed every minute. And it was, again, I want to make sure I go on record, completely grateful to the fans, the bands, and want to make a toast to not only all of our crews, meaning, no pun intended, but Mötley's and Leopards and Joan's and Classless Act and Poison, our crews, but the local crew of loading basically a city. It was like a city of gear going in every single day, in and out, and just want to take a moment to thank them for helping us keeping the rock and world going round.
Brett, what do you learn and feed off when you're actually sitting there watching your buds in Mötley Crüe and Def Leppard?
Oh, they're awesome. Me personally,
Yeah.
If you look at any of the pictures from the tour, the first thing I did is went up and said hello to everybody. I saw Vince, then I walked over and saw Joe and Phil and all the guys, you know what I mean? Went up and I was playing baseball. I don't know if you ever watched that TikTok of me and Joan, Jett throwing baseball. It was amazing. And just having honestly a great time. And I thank them all for the opportunity. And there's a picture of Tommy and me standing. He'd come up to watch our show, and I just stepped off the stage, and Cece was wailing on the guitar and doing a great job. He was wailing, and I checked my blood sugar, you know what I mean? So I thank him, because I need a moment just to make sure my diabetes is in check. And Tommy and I are just sitting there talking and pointing out to the crowd, and it just, how amazing it is. And I think that when you love what you're doing, like for me, the passion and being out there and playing your hits and getting the opportunity to do it, it's a great feeling, honestly. And I think that's what made the stadium tour so rocking. But what I felt I brought is that myself and Poison went out there. We knew we were given 1 hour at 6 in the afternoon to 7. And we just brought everything, all the weapons, hit them with hits, and we would change it out the set. One night we'd do Something to Believe in, then we'd change it out and put this song in, do that song. And I think it kept exciting for us and exciting for the fans. But where Parti-Gras was truly born was the fact I was bringing so many different people up on stage, having a great time. And that's what Live Nation saw with me. I created and produced this thing called Parti-Gras, Mardi Gras. And I said, I want to bring that back to the amphitheaters. And that's where, I mean, it was born before that, but that's where it truly got a chance for the 12 Live Nation dates we're getting ready to do in, kicking off in Detroit. But once they saw the concept, and now there's like 40 or 50 dates, but only the 12 date music festival with Live Nation is this particular lineup that's going out. And I think that's what they saw, what myself and Poison brought was this high energy, positive, just good, nothing but a good time vibe to the stage. And the fans really reacted to it. It was amazing.
Just one last question about the stadium tour, because you guys played relatively early, and somebody from Team Bret sent me a photo of you. And you've been doing this a long time, obviously, and as a fan, you've seen some big shows. But dude, like every one of these venues, we're talking like 60, 70, like 8, like totally sold out. Everyone was there for the first band. It was one of the greatest tours in rock and roll history, right?
1,000,000%. You summed it up best. For me, it was truly one of the greatest tours in rock and roll history for this reason. The fans were there early. They were ready to party. And from the moment we all hit the stage, and I'm including Joan, Jett, and Classless Act. There was a band, Classless Act, and they were amazing sounding. And I was friends with them. I told them, you guys need to use my dressing room. Take it. I said, I pretty much live on my bus. You know what I mean? So I said, if you need anything from us, let me know. And you're welcome to ask them. I'd go up and check with them almost daily. I'm like, you need anything, let us know. And here's the truth. I walked out there and there's 60,000 people already there. When we played Toronto, I can't make this up. I still get chill bumps. I got a photo, and the place, they took all their lighters. They lit that place. I said lighters. That's how I went old school. They took all their phone lighters and lit it up. And it looked like you were in outer space. I mean, it was so awesome. And the energy that came back. And I'm talking, listen, every band brought their special, what I call their special magic to that stage. Joan Jett, different from Poison, different from Mötley, different from Leppard, but all of us gave 1,000%, and I think that's what made it incredible.
What do you think the biggest difference is between a Poison show and a Bret Michaels show?
Here's the thing. 1,000% the energy is the same. So I want to go, what the good thing is it's the same. I get to play as a musician. I get to go up there and just play. I get to sit at the piano. I get to play the congos. I get to play guitar a little more. But I think it's the same energy and same feel. It just allows me to do a few different things that, with respect to the other guys, we would not necessarily do in Poison, or you know what I'm getting at. It's one of those things that Poison has its own unique energy, and so does my solo band. But my solo band has, again, these guys are like my best buddies as well. And we go up there and have that same energy, but just get to add a few different songs or perform them slightly differently than we would with Poison.
Now, you've got a new song launch, but just let me tell you a really quick story. I was reading Keith Richards' biography, and he was talking about the first Rolling Stones record, which was just pretty much just a bunch of blues covers. And then he turned to Mick. He turned to Mick, and he said, "We need to write a song." So the second record, and he went into this great story about the first time that he wrote an original song. And can you remember back in the day when you did that?
Yeah, no pun intended. Back in the day, I love this. I feel like it's a song title.
Yes, exactly.
Go ahead. But back in the day, I'm living it with you. Keith Richards, Mick, we got to write a song, and we're going back in the day too, and then we'll finish the question you had.
No, really, that was a question. Do you remember that first song that you wrote where it was like, oh my God, I wrote my first song?
Absolutely. I remember it like it was literally yesterday. And I think you got to remember, for me, I'm going back to the early days of writing, going down in my basement and recording music, right? And when I say recording music, you're down in your basement, you literally turn on old school recording, right? And back then, some of it was even the micro cassette or macro cassette.
Right.
You know what I mean? Just to hear the song. But I remember it very well. And we had songs like Steal Away the Night, Rock Like a Rocker. I'm not making it up. I was so excited to tell people we're rocking that I was like, I want to write a song called Rock Like a Rocker. And then eventually things like that turn into nothing but a good time. You know, the guitar riffs. But I remember that vividly, being in my basement or before even Poison, writing original songs. And, you know, and it's hard to even describe it. You know what I mean? And I've got some of those old, let's say this, cassettes or ADATs, you know, going back, of some of the original stuff and how exciting it was to have your own song, where it went from playing it on an acoustic and writing the lyrics to actually recording it.
Do you think the album concept is dead? Because you must have a ton of material in the vault.
I've got, when I say vault, on the very phone I'm talking to you on, I still call it the vault. I literally, like, if we're done with this interview and something hits me, I record it with my, like, I'll take my mouth and I'll be like, okay, here's the guitar riff. Like, I'll record it and then I put the beat. So I'm like, I lay the whole thing down, and I cannot tell fans how much music is in my phone and how much music I would have to go back through everything that is just recorded in, like you said, in the vault.
But do you think the album concept is dead? Like, even Poison has not released a brand new record in 15 years. The time is ticking, my friend.
Yeah, well, let me say this. I never think the album concept is dead. I think for me, with new technology, the ability to be able to release digital singles is, I think, more the way a lot of bands have gone. So what happens is you're able now to take the process of writing something, recording it, and putting it out almost the next day. Like, you could say, hey, here's a song I wrote. I recorded this. I put it out in pieces. But I would like to, you know, if you look at mine, as a solo career, I continuously like to take music and put it out. I wrote one with my daughter called Unbroken. We didn't know where it was going to go, and fans really related to it. We made a video to it. And I think with Poison, the same thing. I think best for us is to go in there and, instead of thinking about a whole album, go in there and write a couple really good songs, have a great time, and go put those out digitally if we want to, make a video of it, you know, which I think is a great idea. And I think the same thing with me as a solo artist. I am just so hands-on. And I want to make sure you understand, I've always stated, music is a universal language. It is meant to unite us and not divide us. And I think that that's what you want to do, whether it's Poison or solo. Go in there and write something that really says, that's it. That's a good guitar riff. And that, for me, is what happened with Back in the Day. That's how it came together. I'm like, I got this guitar riff and this melody in my head, and here's this reflective, it's sort of a reflection song that was exciting for me to write. And we went in, and when you see the video, so the world premieres this coming Wednesday, the 18th, right? And to be very concise about it, it was one of those things where I said, I want this to be a feel-good road trip anthem song. And Back in the Day was born. I said, I just want this song to reflect on how grateful I am for Radio Break and our music, the good times when me and all my friends would get in the car we'd be with our girlfriends driving down to Wildwood, New Jersey, to the beach, and just singing songs at the top of our lungs, literally. And that's what back in the day is.
Now, when we witness as we're aging and our rock and roll legends are falling, but you still have the gusto to keep it going, what's going through your head when you've got this brand new song, and meanwhile we're mourning the death of a Jeff Beck or an Eddie Van Halen, but you're still rocking? Like, describe that feeling.
First of all, again, I want to be very clear that I am grateful for all the years, the fans, the bands, the celebration of music. With it, as a diabetic who has been through some horrific medical setbacks in my own life, I am grateful to be on that stage. So the minute I know that I can get back out there and continue the fight, that's what happened on the stadium tour. And every Poison show or Bret Michaels show, I'm 1,000% guy. When we say let's get our game on, it is game on. If I'm able to hit that stage and perform, I'm giving 1,000%. Leaving it, as Bob Seger said, leaving every drop of sweat out there. You know what I mean? Leaving it on the stage, right? And that's what I want to do. And with that comes life, which is understanding the loss of Eddie Van Halen, understanding the loss of Jeff Beck, who, you know, for me, I listen to the collaboration of Rod Stewart and Jeff Beck. People Get Ready.
Love it. Love
right?
it.
And for me, I'm a song guy. And when you listen to that guitar, I'm getting a chill right now. I literally have a chill up and down my arm. When you listen to that guitar and that song, There's a Train a-Coming. I just want to say that that's part of accepting it, because here's something I hope you will quote me right on this, right? That I am glad that I am a rocker that is going through the aging process, because what is my option? You're either aging and experiencing, or you're dead.
Yeah.
I don't, there's no other way to put that. I'd love to put it nicer than that, but there's no other way.
No.
You're either aging, or the alternative isn't as good. So as I've accepted the fact that I am going through, let's call it the experience process, right? Life experience process, I am grateful for it. And again, also at the same time, it is the bittersweet journey of life, is also losing, losing some incredible musicians along the way.
Just a couple of quickies if you have a moment. How is your health?
Sure.
How is your health?
I feel, for right now, today, in this moment, I feel great. I feel great, and I'm enjoying every minute of it right now. And occasionally, my one and only regret of the entire stadium tour was getting sick just before the Nashville show. So I finished up Charlotte. I felt great. I got sick. I was dehydrated. Severe dehydration was a big part of it. Being a diabetic, I was in the hospital with 2 IVs, listening to the stadium tour down the street while I was sitting there with the 2 IVs. But I just had to tell the fans it was not physically possible for me to even perform. And you know how much family and friends I flew into Nashville, people that came out for that show. I was truly bummed out, but I will go back to Nashville and give them 1,000%, probably as just the Bret Michaels band, as best as I can.
This is more.
But my health, the answer to that question is right now I feel great. And I got my ass handed to me there. I got sick as a dog. And as soon as I was able to come back and perform, I was right back in St. Louis.
And how many bandanas do you own?
Jeez, I'm going to tell you, that's literally got to be in the thousands. And that's the whole concept, literally the whole concept of beads and bandanas of the Parti-Gras is just basically, it's a celebration of bands, fans, music, festival, I literally cannot explain to you how cool the Parti-Gras is going to be. And we will get into that closer to it. But it is, when I say this, it is the moment those doors open, I've got a DJ spinning music. All the bands get to perform, all killer, no filler. That's the whole concept of Parti-Gras. All killer hits, no filler. And then at the end of the night, they all roll back on the stage with me. And we just perform with Night Ranger, Starship. You've got Mark McGrath from Sugar Ray, Steve Ajari from Journey. And we are doing nothing but hits, an entire set of it.
Last question, because BraveWords covers numerous genres. And when I was growing up as a kid, I lean a little bit heavier, but I was still collecting the Poison records at the same time as the Slayer albums. What, were you aware of the Big Four? Were you, when the whole hairband phenomena was exploding, were you also aware or fans of the other genres that, because they were all exploding at the same time?
So let me say this. Music, I want to go on record. Music is a continuum. There's, like, in other words, very aware of Slayer, very aware of Metallica, very aware of, for me, country music, rock music, hip hop, pop. This is what we're supposed to do. Music is a universal language that is absolutely meant for different genres, different songs for everybody. Think about what I'm saying for 1 minute. There is nothing out there in music that you can't find for the moment you're going through in your life. So music is one of the only things that provides that. If I'm in the mood to work out and I have to have my Metallica and AC/DC, right? I got to have it. You know, then you flip around. I'm also a fan of I'm a fan of country. I love country music. There's no rhyme or reason. I love my Americana. I love my Southern rock. I love it. What I mean by that is that's what back in the day is reflecting on. So you're listening to the Stones or Tom Petty, American Girl, you know, for me. And then all of a sudden I'm turning around and I loved when people like Aerosmith and Run DMC could pull together a great version of Walk This Way. But I also appreciate that there is so many different styles of music. And you look at some of the stuff I've done and the people I brought on stage, you know, Josie from Saliva comes up and we do a song together. Then the next night I've got Frank Ray doing a country song. Do you know what I mean? I think for me, I'm very aware of music and it's meant to be appreciated by everybody and it's meant to unite us, not divide us. And I think that we have learned in the new day and age that we can do much more of this, that music can be appreciated on so many different levels. And that's, sincerely, that's what I mean. That for me, I grew up with everything from listening to, remember, we had tables. This is going to make you laugh. At our school, we had tables. So one table was more the progressive rock crowd. You know, you had Rush. Yeah. That was this table. Over here was Kiss. Over here was Skynyrd. You know, and I was able to eat at all the tables. How's that sound? In other words, I could go eat at all the tables, enjoy all of it, but I went to see Rush front row, spent every penny I had to get that ticket, right? Hershey Park Arena, front row for Rush. Then a couple weeks later was the Outlaws 38 special, and I went to see that. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not making, then James Taylor. People are like, James, I go, I'm going to be in, of course, I was in the 1200th row because I'd run out of money. But I literally would go see James Taylor. I'm like, this is awesome. And then I went and saw Kansas and Blue Oyster Cult.
Nice. Bret Michaels, you rock. You are living the dream, man. You are living the dream. Thank you so much.
Hey, thank you for your time. And truly, thank you all for just, again, we don't get to do this without you. And I'm sorry about the loss of Jeff Beck. Make sure the fans know that Wired was one of my, is one of my favorite albums. So just